Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're good and well. So time for a Sunday album review, and this Sunday I'm reviewing the 6th studio album from Baroness. This is their release Stone, which came out via Braxton Hymns on Friday the 15th of September, and the album is 10 tracks and 46 minutes in length. Baroness are made up of John Baisley on rhythm guitar and vocals. You've also got Gina Gleason, who is relatively new to the band, having joined in 2017, and she was of course on the Golden Grey album, and she is doing lead guitar and backing vocals here. And you also have Nick Jost on the bass and Sebastian Thompson on the drums too. So Baroness are a band who I've always really liked, going right back to their Red album in the 2000s, and pretty much right up until Golden Grey. I liked Golden Grey a lot, although I did find I struggled a bit with that one in terms of its mix. I didn't find it an easy album to listen to because I did feel the mix was pretty bad, although the songs themselves were really great. And that's an album where I tend to pick out certain songs, which is where I come onto this album, because this album is quite different in its approach and style from Golden Grey. This album, Stone, is, in a way, I suppose, it's kind of like an album you need to listen to all in one. I mean, it's like a stone, you know, you have to embrace its wholesomeness, right? It's kind of proggy, it flows very well, one song going, it goes quite well into the next, I think, on this album. And it's another bit of evolution to their sound in a way. I don't think they've ever quite gone this arty or this progressive before. Obviously, their first couple of albums were very sort of almost were quite unusual and authentic, and had that sort of unique sounds, so that they have that kind of those scratchy guitar noodlings and all that sort of thing. But this album, it's a little different. It's a little moodier and a bit more proggy, as I say. But one which I have, I have enjoyed it. I would say maybe for me, it hasn't had the initial impact that some of their previous albums had. I think like the Blue record or Purple, which is one of my personal favourite Baroness albums, which is a little bit more of a melodic, accessible album from their discography. So anyway, let's go into the tracks of Stone a little bit more. So you really open up. You have the kind of introduction track there, but you really open up here with Last Word, which is a really good song. Almost, maybe one of the more memorable songs on the album as well. It has kind of a chorus, and it's kind of quite powerful. You have a great solo from Gina Gleason in this track as well. I really liked Beneath the Rose, actually. The bands are experimenting with some different vocal stylings on this record. You get more spoken word stuff, but also like just kind of more emphasized spoken word stuff that it's kind of a little punky at times. I think the album makes for an interesting journey, and certainly with Beneath the Rose, I think it's sort of an odd song in a way, because you have those verses and those moments with that kind of vocal, but then you get a more melodic chorus coming into play. So it's a very unusual, unique song, which I think I've kind of been enjoying more and more as I've kind of gotten into the album. Quiet's an interesting track, which is kind of a moody track with a mix of spoken words and narrative vocals again, but with ethereal guitars and this sort of driving beats to it. Anodyne, I enjoyed Anodyne quite a bit, with the reflective vocals from John and Gina, sort of circulating against these sort of back and forth heavier guitar riffs, which I found quite interesting too. Shine, actually one of the songs on the album, I thought that wouldn't have been out of place on the Purple album. Actually, Shine, a good, very, very unique song again, which kind of takes a little while to kind of wrap its tentacles around you for you to sort of fully appreciate it. But I do really like Shine, actually one of the maybe slightly more melodic tracks on this album. Magnolia, I love that track. I really liked the way it started quietly and teases you into that big chorus that comes in with the heavy guitars later on. And also I found myself quite digging the final track, Bloom, which is a cleaner, more acoustic sort of track that I thought caps off the album really nicely, and sort of felt like the right kind of finish for this sort of a moody kind of an album for me. But yeah, I did enjoy this. This was, it has a lot of the Baroness signature stuff, but they've managed to put it into an album which is very progressive, very creative, quite dynamic, and with some new features that we haven't seen before, I think, from Baroness on it as well. So it's kind of progressing the band, moving them in the right direction. So as a final thought from me, I think this is a great album. I think it's an excellent album, a very accomplished album. But there's just something from it that, if I was going to give this a perfect score, for instance, I think I just don't feel it has grabbed me necessarily as much as some of Baroness's other work yet. Maybe that's yet to happen. But I'm going to give this an initial score of an 8 out of 10 with the right to reserve maybe a change of mind slightly later on with this one. I did enjoy it, but it just hasn't quite kind of like, as an album, I think it's really, really good, but some of the individual songs on here perhaps haven't grabbed me quite as much as I would have expected from a band like Baroness just yet. But it is like, it's kind of a mood, this album, I find, for me at the moment. And maybe a mood I have to be in a certain frame of mind for, but it is a good, really good proggy album. I think that's all I have to say at this point. I've probably gone on a fraction too long on that point. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me for this one. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Baroness's latest album, Stone. I welcome all your comments, whether positive or negative. Let me know what you thought of this one. Otherwise, until next time, take care everybody, and bye for now.